Hi, I'm Zoe and welcome to my first speed build video. So I did this build for a collaboration called the Whispering Woods. It was hosted by the wonderful Simspiration YT. She's an amazing content creator and she's a very, very talented builder as well. So if you don't know her already, please check her out. It's gonna be worth your while, I promise. And please check out the other participants as well. There are so many talented people that build lots for this collaboration. I'm going to incorporate the creator list in this video as well, and you can check it out on my Instagram account as well. So please check them out. It has been such an amazing experience and the results are amazing. The people that participated in this collaboration are just so creative, and it was so interesting to see everyone's individual style and creativity. So please check it out. It's really fun. So the theme of this collaboration was actually to make the Sims world, or turn the Sims world into this magical and fantasy-filled world. And there were not a lot of restriction actually, so we were free to choose the lot, the world we wanted to build in, and also the lot size. It was not pack restricted in any way either. So I think I used a lot of packs actually. I didn't really pay attention to that. I just chose the items and things that I thought would fit the general theme. So the only restriction really was that we were not allowed to use any custom content. So this is a no CC build. And we were allowed to use the tool mod by Twisted Maxi. It's a wonderful tool. If you don't know it already and you like to build in The Sims 4, do check it out because it just gives you so many possibilities that you don't have otherwise. And yeah, it allows you to do incredibly detailed builds and really realize the ideas you have in your head. So I'm so happy to have had this opportunity. So thanks again, Simspiration YT. It's been a very special experience for me because there were a lot of things that I did for the first time actually. So it was my first time participating in a collaboration of any kind. And I've never did a speed build video before, as I said. So the whole process of recording my building process and editing and doing this voiceover, it was incredibly challenging and intimidating, to be honest. But I'm quite happy with the results. And it was also the first time that I used the terrain tool. Well, no, not the first time really, but I've used it before to build little ponds, but that's all. So I've never used it to do anything else before, to really manipulate the terrain. So I tried this for this build and I think it turned out quite well. I just wanted to give this build another level of depth by adding different levels on the terrain. And I had a little bit of difficulties placing the stairs at the beginning, but I think it turned out well. I really like the way this build turned out. So I used 2 pictures as an inspiration that I found on Pinterest. I'm going to blend them into this video if I figure out how to do it right about now. And it's so interesting. I found them and I thought they looked so cool, and they are AI generated ideas for Lego builds, if I'm correct. And I didn't try to copy the pictures in any way or build them exactly as they are in the picture, but my goal was to get this general vibe that I got from the pictures. So I wanted this build to look like it's in the middle of the woods, and you saw me place down all the different trees at the beginning of the build, and I'm going to add a lot more. So what you see me doing right now, it's just figuring out the general shape of this building. So I didn't really plan anything in advance. I just put down a box and I started adding to it and changing it up a little bit. And I was going for like mansion, castle, mansion, if that makes any sense. And yeah, you saw me placing down a waterfall at the beginning of the build. I really wanted to add a little pond and the waterfalls to make it a little bit more whimsical. But I did encounter some issues while I was playtesting it. So my Sims, they were not able to use the pathways that I've built to the building up above. And I thought that it was because of the plants at the beginning, because I thought that maybe I overdid the landscaping, but it was not the case. It was a waterfall. Somehow it blocked the pathway. Maybe there was another possibility to solve this, but I couldn't think of one. So I took the waterfall away. I replaced it by the small waterfalls or maybe fountains that came with the Riviera Retreat pack, I think. And I think I actually prefer it the way it is now. It fits even better, I think, with the general style of this lot. And I'm building in Glimmerbrook, by the way, if you were wondering. I've used a lot. I don't remember what size it has exactly, but it is the biggest lot in the Glimmerbrook world. So if you want to download this build, because it is available on the gallery, and my gallery ID is DroolingBeagle. If you are interested in downloading it, you can place it there or on any other lot that has the same size. So while building this, I had a little backstory in mind that I'd like to share with you. So I've imagined this spellcaster that comes from a well-known, rich, wealthy spellcaster family. And I thought that this lot could have been their residential lot or maybe their summer residence. So they passed a lot of time here during the summers. And then at some point, the spellcaster, he inherited this place from his parents and he used it as his main residence. And I thought that, well, I imagined him to be a professor at the Academy of Magic. And I thought of him as a quite open-minded professor, so that maybe his colleagues were more traditionalist and wanted to preserve the ways to do things in the magic realm. And so they were sometimes at odds with the younger generation, their students, that were starting to see things differently and wanting to do things differently. And this professor, he was more open-minded, so he encouraged them and he loved to exchange ideas with them. And at some point, he offered them to meet at this lot, so at his residence, in order to have a safe place to meet up and exchange ideas and talk about how to do things in the future in the magic realm. So away from prying eyes, away from any repercussions that they may have faced when meeting in order to discuss at the Academy of Magic. And then at some point, the professor got old and maybe he died or maybe he moved to another residence, a smaller residence, and then he left this lot to his students or to the spellcaster community that used to come here and meet up for quite some time. And at that point, the interior of the building was changed also. So it was no longer a residential lot, but they've changed it up in order to level up their skills and have a meeting place. And so it became this meeting hub for the spellcaster community. So this is the backstory that I imagined while doing this build. And you have different kinds of things that you can do here. I tried to fill this build with everything magic related that I could think of. So I'm not really one to play that extensively with the different packs. I use them to build mainly. So I hope that everything I incorporated and the way I incorporated makes sense as well. I really do hope so. If not, you can let me know in the comments and I'll try to do better next time. But it includes a bar on the ground floor with a cauldron where you can cook macaroni and cheese if you want to. And it has a seance table on the ground floor as well. And then on the first floor, you've got the library that you can actually play as a library as well. And I incorporated a little studio as well. So this one-person bedroom and kitchen and bathroom. I tend to do this for my community lots a lot, if it makes any sense, because I'm really annoyed when I play, and that is quite rarely, if I'm honest. But if I'm playing in live mode and I visit community lots, it's just very annoying to me that I have to travel back home to fill up their needs bars quite often, for instance, the hygiene bar, or maybe when they get hungry. So I travel home, I try to fill up their needs, and then I travel back and I continue with what I was actually trying to do. So I think it's way more practical if you have a place on the community lots where you can fill up those needs. So if your hygiene is low, you can take a bath here, you can have a snack in the kitchen, and just chill. So if you want to play into the backstory that I've created in my mind, I think you could actually do that. You could create this professor that I was talking about and play this lot as a residential lot and have him living in that little studio. But the lot would be quite empty that way. I think you would have to invite Sims all the time just to make it a little bit more lively. So I'm not sure if that would be such a nice experience, to be honest. But technically you could do it. So on the last floor, the second floor, you have a gemology room where you can make jewelry. And you also have like a little greenhouse. I will talk about this later on as well, and go a little bit more into detail. So what you see me doing right now is the landscaping. I tried to add all these flowers and go with a certain color scheme and just make this place a very cozy but whimsical place. And what I also added, I don't think you'll see it in this video. I think I edited it out, but I added those 3 stalls that you get with the Magic Realm pack. So the ones where you can buy broomsticks and magic wands and potions, I think. Because I thought if this is a meeting place, a general meeting hub for the Spellcaster community by now, it would be fun if you can purchase those things here. So you have everything together in one place that you actually need for your Spellcaster Sims. I've placed them along the stairs on the right side, and it looks very narrow once they are placed, but I play tested the whole lot and it worked out for me, so I think it should be no problem at all. But I'm also new to play testing lots, so I can't promise anything. I tried my best. And I also added lots of lights all over the place, all over this park area on the ground. And I've also added lanterns into the trees. And at some point I tried to add I think it's fireflies. I think so. And I've put them under the bushes. And it didn't work out in the live mode. I don't know if maybe it's just because you'll see them in one particular season, and I was not building in that particular season. But I didn't remove them because I didn't want to remove all the landscaping and start again. So maybe at some point during your Sims year, they will pop up at random places. So I'm sorry about that. Something else that I did was doing this little balcony area There's a fountain right now. I will remove that later on and do something else. Yeah, right about now. So I've did this little balcony area because I thought it would be nice to sit there and have a view on the lake beneath, and that you could meet up there and talk and maybe have a drink. And I added this little well in the middle, and I think I will do it at the end of the build actually, but I will add some crystals and lights to the well as well, so it looks a little bit more magical in fact. So I've moved into the interior now, and I'm building the bar area now. So you see me placing down the counters and the shelves, and I've tried to make the bar as cluttered as possible, so it just would have this magical feeling to it, because I think in the media in general, in movies, all those wizardy places, they are always very cluttered. So I've added this mirror, for instance. I'm not sure which pack it came from, but I really like to elevate it to surfaces because it looks like it's standing on this counter. And I've added just as many things that I could think of that would look cute and cozy, that would make this place cozy. And I also tried to have this kind of autumn feel to it, because I started building this in September and I was really looking forward to this season of autumn. So you see me placing down the crystal ball as well. I thought it would add to this the magical feel of this place in general. And the bar I wanted to incorporate because I really like to have bars on the community lots. It gives your Sims something to do, and if you add some tables and chairs to it, it just gives this feeling of a shared space where you can meet up and relax and have a good time in general. So yeah, one requirement to play this as a ball lot is to add a TV. I thought that would be quite weird for this magical theme, so I've chose the TV that looked the most ancient, I guess. And on the other side of the bar, in the round corner, I added a cauldron because I thought that would really fit with the theme, and I imagined this different spellcasters to meet up here and brew things that they could eat together, or maybe they brew potions here as well. And I added those shelves on the right side of the cauldron, and I added different things there. So I thought that maybe there would be some memorabilia, I don't know how to pronounce the words, but things that the professor had bought or collected on his travels around the world. So I tried to add some things that looked more exotic, and I tried to add things that looked as if they could be ingredients for potions or something that your Sims would brew. And I think I also added actual potions to the shelves a little bit later on. And around the walls, I'm trying to place down things that you could add as food ingredients. So the pumpkins, apples, potatoes that you could use to actually brew something that is edible. And for the lights of this room, I think I thought I picked some lights from the debug menu and I shrunk them down, but I'm not sure anymore. I just know that they were quite big and I shrunk them down. So that's it for the bar. And now I moved up to the first floor and I'm furnishing the library. So I've added 2 desks with computers so that you could play this as a library if you wanted to. And I've tried to make this library as comfortable as possible, as cozy as possible. So I added lots of sitting space, sitting corners. I've tried to add a lot of candles as well and book piles to make it look really lived in and as if there are many sims that use this room as well. And I've added, for instance, this rug that looks very old because I thought it would add to the feeling that parts of this building or this build in general are new, but others are quite old as well. And I've added a bathroom, well, a toilet really, to each level of this build as well, so your Sims don't have to wander around too much to relieve themselves. I thought it would be practical as well, because sometimes it just takes them such a long time to move from one place to another. And what I was trying a little bit at the beginning was, for this library at least, was that I had to place down a chess table to make it playable as a library. So you saw right now that it was just sitting randomly in the middle of the library. And at a later point, I move it to the park area. I don't know if it's the most logical thing to do, but I thought it would be cool for your Sims to sit outside in the park and enjoy the view and play a round of chess. And by now I moved on to that little studio that I was talking about. So I'm trying to clutter up the kitchen. And you also see that the room has a little balcony on the right side with a telescope. And I thought it would fit nice with the theme, so that someone was living here and was using this telescope to have a look at the stars, and maybe the professor, he charted the stars as well. But unfortunately, the telescope, it's not playable. So that I regret, but there's just not enough space for it on this little balcony. But if you're interested in the telescope as an activity that your Sims can actually do, you can move it someplace else, maybe down on to the balcony area where there are the tables and chairs, or somewhere else in the park area if you actually want to use it. But of right now, it's just part of the decoration, really, and adds to the storytelling. So I added a table and two chairs as well, so that your Sim could sit down and eat or chat with someone. And then in this round area in the tower, I put the bedroom there. So you have a one-person bedroom, and I've added a little wardrobe and a mirror, so that you could actually imagine someone to live here. And I've added some accessories, some items, so that it looks a little bit more lived in. And something else that I've used for the first time in this build is this door that you just saw briefly as the entrance to the little studio area. And I thought that was quite fun because it looks like a bookshelf. It's disguised as a bookshelf, and I thought it would be a fun idea, because then the entrance to the studio would not be as public. I thought that might be a little bit weird, so now it's more of a hidden space, and I thought that would be a nice addition. And I also built a bathroom here that looks a little bit more rustic. I edited it out because it's not that interesting to see me build it, but yeah, you can take a relaxing bath here and then continue with your magical journey on this lot. And now I moved up to the gemology room. So here I used a lot from the jewelry pack. So you can make your own jewelry here. Wow, difficult word to pronounce. And you can also enchant them here. And what I tried to do as well was incorporate a crystal tree into this room. And it was not working out the way I expected it, because by now I know that there is some kind of cheat that lets you choose the state the crystal tree is in. But at the time I was building this, I did not know that was possible. So I tried to place down the crystal tree in this tower area, this little corner with the blue tinted glass windows, but it just turned into this pile of dirt. And yeah, so I just went with the pile of dirt. And your Sims actually have to nurture it so that it grows. And I'm not so sure if it fits this space nicely. I didn't try it out, unfortunately. I forgot about this. It's possible that if it is fully grown, that it pierces the walls. And if it does, I'm really sorry about that. I try to build in a way that it would be immersive to play here. And of course, it's not the case if you have things just poking out the wall. So maybe you can replace the crystal tree with something else. If it bothers you, maybe you can put another sitting area here or something else entirely. Just be creative. And what I also did was try and add as many crystals and gems as I could find. I thought it would give a nice feel to this place, and it would feel as if there have been lots of Sims that visited this place and put those gems and crystals here, and that everybody had access to them and could use them in order to make their jewelry. So yeah, of course I used a lot of the jewelry pack, but the crystals and gems, I think I used all those that I could find in the building menu, really. So they are from lots of different packs. And I put them on a little table at the side. And I decided to, do like an maybe installation, you could call it, like this table. And I filled the table up with all kinds of crystals and gems. I thought it would be a nice showcase of what kinds of crystals there are in the Sims game. And you just see me adding a bit more details to this gemology room. And at some point I've added these curtains that go under the ceiling, and I've put them over the crystal tree area. I thought it would give that feeling that the crystal tree is quite fragile and precious, and maybe it's vulnerable to direct light. So I thought that would be a nice addition to this room. And in a little bit, I will move over to the part of the second floor where I built a greenhouse. And maybe it was not the best idea to build a greenhouse inside the building and on the second floor. I'm sorry if that does not make much sense, but I was not really planning the interior of this build. I really tend to concentrate on the exterior of my builds and then just deal with the interior at a later point. And it's really dealing with it because, that way my floor plans, they often end up quite awkward. So I'm really sorry for that. But I fell in love with this idea that you would have this space where your Sims can plant things and harvest them. And so I really, really, really wanted to add this kind of room. And this was the only room left. So to make up for this, I tried to add as many windows as I could to this part of the room. And I also added windows on the floor above that, a floor I did not use for any rooms, but I added that floor to add height to the building in general. And I think it turned out quite nice. I personally like it. I hope you do too. And I had some issue with the windows actually, because I've used I think it's a base game window, and I've used this lovely brown swatch. I really like this window, but I don't know if it's a glitch in my game or if this is the case for everyone. But if you place down this particular window, you can change the swatch on the outside, like with every window, but on the inside of the room, it appears white. And no matter what you do, you can't change it. And I was really annoyed by that because this did not fit with the color scheme that I was trying to go for. So stubborn as I am, I tried to find some kind of solution, and my solution was to copy the window, turn it around so the outside of the window would face the inside of the room. I hope that explanation makes sense. And I placed the copied window exactly over the window that I've placed originally. So each window is in fact 2 windows, and I hope it doesn't glitch too much for you. For me, it was okay. So I went with this kind of solution, and I've placed down a lot of pots and I think planters they are called, and I've looked up what kind of things that you need to make potions in the magic realm, and I've tried to plant those things into the pots so that your sim could harvest them and make potions right there in that room. And right now you see me placing down some brooms. I thought it would be a fun idea. I tried to make believe that your sims maybe travel here on their broomsticks and have a place where they can put their broomsticks, a little bit like you can do with your umbrellas when you visit a restaurant. Here, at least in my country, you often have a holder, like an object where you can put your umbrellas in until the moment when you leave. Then you pick it up again and you can take it with you. And I try to do this with the broomsticks as well. I thought it would be a fun idea in general. And now I moved downstairs to the ground floor again, because there was one entrance area that I did not furnish yet, and I decided to put a seance table there. I have not played with the seance table yet, so I don't know exactly how it functions, and I don't know if the environment I put it in actually makes sense and works out. I really do hope so. If not, I'm truly sorry. And maybe it was a weird choice to place the seance table, because it's just really right next to the entrance, if you use this side of the building as the entrance and not the bar. I tried to make up for it by placing down pillars and placing down some curtains to make it a little bit more private. But I mean, it's a magic world, right? So maybe your Sims who are spellcasters, it's not too weird for them to just walk into the building and pass by some people that do a seance, right? It could be possible. And I tried to get away with it by placing those curtains down. And with the tool mod, I enlarged them. And I switched up the swatch a few times until I was happy with the result. And I did add those crystal balls on the shelf as well. I thought it would add a little bit to this mystical atmosphere around the seance table, and maybe your Sims could exchange the crystal ball depending on what they wanted to do or who they wanted to contact. So I tried to make that possible with the different crystal balls. And then in the entrance as well, I've added a little sitting area and a mirror and some other things to make it a bit more, to make it cozier. And I also added pictures on the wall, and right on the left you see a portrait. I don't remember what pack this is from, unfortunately, but it's a portrait of a man, and I imagined this to be a portrait of the spellcaster, the professor that's been living here. And the portrait is a younger version of him, of course, but I thought that would be like a remnant of him in this place and a way of the spellcaster community to honor him and the fact that he left all of this to them to use it. So I am finishing the entrance area right now and touching up a few last things. For one, I really, really enjoyed this experience. I thought this was such a fun collaboration. So thank you again, Simspiration YT. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity. And I had so much fun building this and imagining this backstory and trying out different things. And I've never built on such a big lot before either. So it was a really fun experience in general. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy the other builds of the collaboration as well. Don't forget to check them out. And yeah, like I said, if you want to play with this, if you're interested, it's available on the gallery and under my name, DroolingBeagle. And there you can check out my other builds as well. I don't have any speed build videos for those, but it was such a fun experience. I think I will try and continue doing this, especially if you have enjoyed it. And yeah, you can tell me maybe in the comments if you have any constructive feedback. I'm always looking to improve. And yeah, it would be so much fun to have an exchange with you. So thank you so much for watching. And please, if you like this, please leave a like and maybe subscribe. And hopefully I will see you on the next build. Bye.